Okay, here we go. So Children's Day, what did we decide on there?
So it looks like right now it's slotted for April, and I like the idea of April instead of November, because November's heading into the seasonal holidays and things like that. It could get confusing. And if we're gonna celebrate children, it should be a separate day.
Well, and it could lend itself to potential outdoor activities if it's in spring rather than November.
Yeah, at least around here.
Yes.
Oh, no, she's still there. I was just looking for that, what page is that? Oh, there we go. And then, let's see to share a different screen maybe.
Carolyn, the screen share, oh, never mind. It's catching up. It's just a little laggy. Never mind.
I was trying to choose the right screen. We were just linking back to some of the hyperlinks I had in the PowerPoint on Children's Day to figure out which dates might work best. So April is Palestine, Bolivia, Colombia, Haiti, Turkey, and Mexico. So certainly we could do it in April and just like you said, just generally talk about who celebrates it in April, but also that there's many countries that celebrate Children's Day throughout the year. So, and then the other thing we should look at is just how many things we have in April right now. So we have 2 things in April, so that should probably be fine.
Is Ramadan sometimes in April or is it always in March? Right.
Yeah. March or April, yeah.
It was, because a few years ago, it used to be in May. Yes, because it's based on a lunar calendar. Sabora was telling us about that last year. It's really interesting.
All right, yeah, go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say something that's like for Ramadan, for instance, we should be tuned in to when our community is gonna celebrate it.
Yeah.
Period, and then focus on that time period versus what the rest of the world is doing, because if they change it around, or if it's different for certain areas, depending upon where they are in the world, it can get confusing, but our concern, I think, is the Mountlake Terrace community. More than when are they celebrating some of this stuff, or if we want back with this Children's Day thing, if we do it in April, it's an opportunity to not only celebrate it, but educate, our community, what others are doing in the world at that time, because it's a different date.
Right. So we had some other, so we already typically do Asian Pacific Islander Pride Month, Juneteenth, Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month. I'm proposing that we do Native American Heritage Month this time, but we haven't always done that.
Which one?
The Native American Heritage Month. So is there anything else on this particular list that calls out to you?
Well, the welcoming week,
Yep.
you're gonna talk more about that,
Yeah.
but when I was reading the information about that, I'm definitely interested. I think that's a really cool program.
Okay, we can talk about that one a little bit more after this.
If December is not too crowded, International Human Rights Day might be an appointment, January, but I forgot how crowded December is.
Yeah, it's there more on another slide. For December.
Yeah, those are 2 pages.
Nope, I think that was it. I think more just meant, do you have any other ideas?
Oh, yeah, I like that idea as well of International Human Rights Day.
Yeah, we don't really have anything in December, so typically. Yeah.
I would find that very interesting to see what sort of proclamation would come out for that. You know, well, I mean, because there are a lot of countries that are, you know, making statements about about human rights, while in their own country, their human rights are lacking.
Right.
You know, and ours is no different. So it'll be interesting to see how that can pull people together. You know, because
Maybe it's more aspirational than actual, you know, maybe it'll sound more aspirational than being actual evidence of it. Because it is a little difficult to find anybody who's perfect at that.
Yeah. Councilmember Murray, do you have any thoughts that you want to share about the process, the days that we've been talking about?
No, I was gonna say, I think I'll keep thoughts on proclamations for council conversation as far as my like individual thoughts. And I think it's been a good and interesting conversation, and I appreciate all the thoughtfulness. And I think I guess I will just, the recruiter, like the workforce part of me was like, ooh, well, April is also take your kid to work day. So maybe we could like work in like a cool opportunity for kids to like see what we do at the city. All right. So there's my little personal plug there. But no, outside of that, I don't have.
Well, this isn't all the proclamations. You can add other proclamations as well, of course.
I appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm good at this point. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, do we want to talk about, let me see, I added in here the ones that we just talked about, so Lunar was that one closed, but February usually, right? Did I make this? I was gonna copy that as a picture. I was gonna edit it so we can talk about it, but I think. Don't let me edit anything. All right, so in context of this list, we have, I'll add them as we talk. Is there anything, I guess my question is regarding ways to celebrate or commemorate these different proclamations. Do we want to talk about any of that now? Or do we want to come back to this, say like starting in November or December and start thinking about the things in first quarter?
I think if it takes time to plan, we've talked about doing something for Ramadan in the past, and we haven't had enough lead time to enact something.
In last meeting, there was some conversation about partnering for a meal or something at the end of Ramadan, right? Yeah.
Or one of the nights, because the community often gets together at night. And yes, at sunset and breaks fast.
okay. So Rem, I think you had mentioned that you were willing to make contact.
Yeah, I can, I don't remember to say that, but I.
Okay, I mean,
it sounds like.
okay.
I can do that.
Okay, you know.
I'm familiar with the culture.
Okay, you know, how about, you know, make contact and discuss ways in which the city, you know, not just us, you know, can participate or support, you know, and then come back to the group, you know, to so that we have time to talk to the council. We do have time, you know, to get some ideas and
So I was thinking about reaching out to the church, I forgot where it is, the mosque, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this way.
Yeah.
But you guys just mentioned the person's name.
I've got a contact name. I haven't met the individual. We just did an email.
If I could just totally stop by.
Yeah.
And start talking to you.
We'll talk. He and I had just never. We had a meeting at City Hall but then I wasn't able to make it, but it wasn't just me he was meeting Ricky and a whole bunch of others. And I think Rohit was there and But, I never physically met the individual that came over, from the mosque.
And that is from this month.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Sunni was involved in the celebration. He was in the shoreline, there's a mosque there, we had a big breakfast several years
Over the
ago.
25th.
We
Yeah.
could just do something like that.
So that's for March, and then in February, yes, go ahead.
Thanks. Just briefly, Carolyn, and maybe this is something that you can help facilitate. I think one of the things that has come up when there has been actions coming out of the DEI commission and coming to council, there's been questions around the budgetary piece, and there's been challenges with getting budgetary stuff in line in order to move things forward in the time frame that we need to. And so I guess I would just name that, particularly if we're looking at a partnership where there's a cost involved in sponsoring that meal. It would be really helpful for city staff to kind of clarify, like, where does that budget, authority need to come from, and make sure that that is lined up to support that if that's ultimately what we move forward with.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
All right. So Black History Month and Lunar New Year are both in February, I believe.
What can we do for Black History Month? I don't know how that can be celebrated.
There's all kinds of things you can do with Black History Month. I mean, there's a list that'll go all the way to Mississippi, things that can be done. I think that probably it's a month, so it literally, all type readings, I mean, there's gonna be stuff happening all over Snohomish County that you can beg, borrow, and steal ideas from. And so what I would say to that is go look, and see what sort of things are going on. I mean, it might be just, business, non-financial support, as a group, or somebody may say, hey, let's do something together. But, it's a month, it's an entire month. So just like, Hispanic Heritage Month is, the Arts Commission did this thing, at the library, and it was doing Hispanic Month. So, we need to probably get off our tough and go find out if the Arts Commission got anything planned during that month, because they might.
Or if the
Yeah,
library
whatever.
has an exhibit of some kind.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they just did something for Hispanic Month, and
Yeah.
we didn't know that was gonna happen until you sent that information. So this is how we kind of get ahead of maybe some of the things that they're doing, so that, or make a suggestion, find out, because they got a work plan for the year already done, so we just gotta look at it and see how, we can fit in or add in or whatever, and or get ideas from.
there was a Juneteenth celebration at Esperance last year, the last 2 years maybe, at Esperance Park, and I don't know what organization started that. I just never thought a lot
It
of
was Juneteenth or
Yeah.
everywhere. We paid for one.
Yeah.
Remember, up in Everett.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's gonna go on, and it's just a matter of which one we want to put our hands on, and call ourselves part of or call our own. But we gotta put our boots in the ground and go look.
So one thing I would ask of all of you, Andrew, our events coordinator, has a little bit of capacity to support with something in the next year, but we would need to identify a propose something to him, and I could, if we have a proposal, I can bring him in to talk about that. But so in looking at all of the, what's going on here? Sorry. So if there's something that you see across the year and there's like, oh, that's the thing that we would like to do something a little bigger. I'm not saying necessarily community-wide festival, but something that we would need more staff support, maybe some budget for. I would like to know that before the end of the year, because we, one, have to figure out how we're using our 2024 budget, and two, per what Councilmember Murray said, we do have a budget amendment process coming up, so although we don't necessarily have to plan every single thing at the moment, if
Yeah.
there's one big thing you're thinking about and you know what you want to focus on, that would be good to know.
I think it would be great if the commission participated in Pride Month. That the school district can host an event, and if we showed up at it, I think that would be valuable, but I don't know that that qualifies as the event planning.
That doesn't require funding.
It doesn't, no, it doesn't require funding. It could, but it doesn't. But just showing up. The Linwood DEIC came last year, because they kind of instigated part of it, but.
So if we wanted to do an event for this, for 2024, I mean, would it even be feasible to, like, say, for instance, if we wanted to do something for Ramadan, that's only a couple months away now? I mean, how much lead time do you need on something?
Possibly, I can talk to, I mean, if we need budget and if you need staff support, I can talk to Andrew about that.
I mean, it would be maybe good to know before we launch into,
I think I need to understand like what the scope is from
Right.
the perspective, like how many
Right.
people are we talking about? Are we hosting it here at City Hall? Are we doing it somewhere else? I don't really fully understand the idea, and I'm not sure if you have an idea yet, so,
I guess
Well,
my point of saying that was just that, you know, knowing how many months of lead time he might need for any size of an event
Mhm.
might give us an idea of which thing for next year we could pick, because maybe he would say, well, I probably couldn't get anything organized till May, then we would know, well, you know, maybe we couldn't do Ramadan this year, we wouldn't have to do it next year because we don't have enough lead time or
Mhm.
whatever. That's the question I was asking.
Yeah,
Well, you know, some of the things, again, we gotta attach ourselves or connect ourselves with the principles, you know. Well, since you brought up Ramadan, again, you know, we don't get to make up stuff that we wanna do for Ramadan.
No.
You know, we've got to, you know, fit in with what they want, you know, done by us for Ramadan, you know, and, you know, I remember when Tabora was here, she talked about things like, you know, hosting one of the meals or being present to help serve the meal, you know, stuff like that. That's what that event looks like, you know, not us putting something on. And that's where it's gonna be, I think, in a lot of these things, you know, not necessarily us putting something on, but us supporting something that is already happening, you know. I mean, I think we are going to one day find something that we can, you know, again, it might be just something at the library, you know, but that folks will come to and see. But we've gotta, we don't need to keep thinking, I think, this, like she said, some huge event, you know, because that might not happen.
Right.
But what we're trying to do is more than just a statement, which is what historically has only been done. You know what I mean?
Let me just discuss the Ramadan thing, for example, with the multiple
Right.
and see what, because they might be already doing something and they might just say, just support us, and that might be that easy.
Or just come join us or,
Yeah.
yeah, be present or whatever, yeah.
I guess the
Clean
question,
up.
Yeah,
some of the things is if you're just present, that's even, no.
yeah, right.
And, you know, when we think of things that we think we might want to do, I'm gonna ask you to do this, you know, keep going back to our mission statement. Go look at our mission statement. If you haven't looked at it in 60 days, go back and look at it, okay? Because what we're trying to do here in the city is reflective in our mission statement. You know, so again, I'll use Ramadan as an example. It's an opportunity to bring a community together, you know, and that's the same thing as in the Arts Commission mission statement, you know, bringing the community together. So go look at the mission statement and find out, well, how within this boundary here, you know, can we do some of the things that we're trying to do, you know, and then that kind of keeps us from like branching off to stuff that we just can't do, you know, don't have the budget, manpower, or whatever, or time,
Just to note, we have a guest, Beth Laney joined, so. Welcome,
Okay.
Beth.
Okay. All right, so. Can we go back to that first slide again?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, okay. Because this is where I think where we hopefully can decide some of the things that we think we want to start doing. I don't mean specifically for a particular proclamation, but as a group, think that I like the working with staff in meaningful ways to celebrate and commemorate the purpose of the proclamation. But to me, the key word in that is working, which means that we've got to be talking to staff about what it is that staff wants to do, or what do we think staff maybe can do. The council members, pick a council member and ask them, well, what proclamation is important to you? As a DEI member, go find a council member. Get on the horn and just say, hey, I'm so-and-so. We haven't met yet, or we have met. We're talking about proclamations. You all sign off on which ones are important to you and what would you like to see our input in? Or here's my input on it. To me, that's what working with staff means, and again, the recommend potential recipients, I think one of the things we did was, Alvaro, we do an Hispanic one. One of the founders of the DEI, one of the first appointees, that worked done perfectly for us. But there's got to be others, in our Muslim communities and our different communities, Asians, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, heck, the mayor, she's the only, two of the mayors, Asian female mayors, in the state of Washington, you know what I mean? Ricky, I sat down with Ricky last year and we talked about, highlighting, city staff, and, some because of their ethnic background or just those that, go right down the line, didn't matter what they were, but being able to highlight individuals, talking to individuals and get something written up, bringing the community together by letting them know who the city staff is. That's DEI work.
So I think we have consensus on these points. Next time we get together, I can bring the revised list of just sort of the DEI focused proclamations back. And we can continue the conversation. I can get some more information from Andrew about his timelines, and the budget. And then we can regroup on ideas for the first quarter, if that would be helpful.
Yeah.
And I want to ask the group to, do some homework. We got a list. Just do some homework and not just what these things are, but who's doing stuff in the area, and come back with some ideas or some suggestions or of things that either we can do with or have others. I mean, because the other DEI commissions are waiting for us to say, hey, come join us in this, that, right? Carol, I mean, they're looking for collaboration. They're looking for, we all want collaboration and whatever. So that's what I'm going to ask of everybody, because one of the things that Benita will tell you, we keep talking about proclamations every month, been doing this for a while, not a whole lot of stuff comes from the conversation, so let's be ready to, maybe act, rather than staring at a screen. Fair enough?
Mhm.
Okay.
Can I ask if this National Native American Heritage Month is something that you brought here today for us to review the draft language for?
Yes.
It is.
That is the next agenda item.
The other question I have is under whereas it's the fifth one down in regard to the ancestral lands. Was the treaty contentious that you know of?
The, I guess where some of the contention, was, from my understanding and the research that I did, was, the Snohomish wanted not to be on a particular parcel of land like a reservation. They wanted the lands that they were occupying to be honored. And then what happened was, what's now called the Tulalip Reservation was not a tribal land. It was a parcel of land that became a reservation, and they called it Tulalip based on its place name. And the local tribes and bands were asked to move there. And so the Snohomish were upset that the other lands that they were occupying were not honored. And so then the people who occupied the land of Tulalip were called the Tulalip tribe, but that wasn't an original tribe. So it is a culmination of tribes and bands from the region. And so that's, but the Snohomish are still an active tribe and have an office in Edmonds and have a board that meets, but they're not federally recognized as.
They're not.
They're not, but the Tulalips are, because they've sort of encompassed a broader group of people, so.
And regionally, Coast Salish tribes is an acceptable term by many members of those communities.
Yes.
Regardless of where they fell on that treaty.
Right.
Okay.
I think in Pacific Northwest, only Coolioot and a few more other tribes that are on the ocean side are not Salish. The most of them are Salish coast tribes. It's really kind of.
Yeah, for this particular, like Puget Sound
Yeah.
region, that's a term that's used pretty frequently, yes.
And accepted by the people of those that are being acknowledged. Because I think sometimes we colloquially will use words and then we decide, oh, we shouldn't be using this, but
Yeah,
this one seems to be acceptable. Or
Any other thoughts, questions?
When the city ever considered hosting participating in a town in the region, or do you not have enough presence?
I am not
the
sure.
Edmonds School District barely has enough presence with all 5 cities and unincorporated areas to have a community park. So the city of Mountain Terrace definitely.
So, I guess a couple of questions. One, do we want to move forward with this proclamation, generally speaking? Do we want to acknowledge National Native American Heritage Month?
Yes.
Yes.
And then, yeah, any other thoughts on the language that are, and I'm happy to, if you feel like there's something that's not needed because it's getting long and we don't want people to drift off during the reading, then, definitely let me know that. We try to keep them to about 1 page because it is a lot of reading and listening for folks.
Do we have individuals, here in the city that we could invite to city council for the reading of the proclamation? I don't know because I'm new to the city, but maybe some of you who have been around for a while, even some students, perhaps.
I don't know their names, but there's somebody who does know the family who lives up by off of 236 that has the mural on their garage.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
I know someone who knows them.
Okay.
Oh.
Can you reach out to
Yes.
somebody to somebody to
Yes.
somebody?
I will make a connection. Yes.
That is a beautiful
Yeah.
mural.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
They also did that family did the artwork at Mountlake Terrace Elementary.
And that would give us opportunity, if they're willing to participate, to also expound upon some of the things that they've done in the city art-wise.
Mhm.
I will I will do
Okay.
that tomorrow.
So do we make a motion on the floor that as a board commission that we are going to now double it up, recognize National Native American Heritage Month as well as accept the proclamation as written? There you go, motion on the floor to,
I second it.
well, I'm not
If you
making the
need a
motion.
second.
I'm not
You
making
need
the
a
motion.
motion for that.
I need a
Okay,
motion. Okay,
I'll second it.
all right.
I was gonna, well, I forgot to say that.
Yeah.
So there's been a motion on the floor to recognize National Native American Heritage Month and to accept the proclamation as written in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Can I clarify? We're recommending this to council, right?
Yes.
So we're accepting it as a
Yes.
recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
All right.
Okay, just, I can't type quite as fast as I want to tonight. All right, thank you. So. Next item. Is, last time we spoke a little bit about Welcoming America. And we needed a little more time just to investigate the organization and learn more about them. Just a brief overview. This is an organization that is now doing international work, but started as just Welcome America and Welcoming America, and actually started in the government world, but has expanded to nonprofit and corporate world as well. And the idea is for organizations to be welcoming to our immigrant and refugee community, but it sort of has expanded into a broader, just like diversity of our cultures and ethnicities in a way to celebrate that and show that our communities are stronger when we are more diverse. And so I sent you some links there for you to look at and a map of different places around the country that have signed on. And this is just a blow up of our region, folks that have joined Welcoming America. And they do have other benefits and events and programs that are ongoing. And so just give you a link to the events. And I was particularly interested in this welcoming economy program, since we're trying to attract new business to Mountlake Terrace, and we're increasingly growing the more ethnically and culturally diverse. So I thought that was kind of a nice program. So anyway, I open the floor for your conversation about this topic.
Okay, thoughts?
Well, I was reading about Welcoming Week, and I just think that's a really opportunity that we might have to engage the community in just embracing our diversity and people, because we have a lot of immigrant families in this community.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be nice to come up with something to highlight that. I was thinking, I mean, this is just pretty rudimentary, but like having a poster competition in the schools for Welcoming Week, you know, with write up some information about Welcoming Week, and then what the theme of the posters we would want. But I mean, that's just a rough idea. Get students engaged in you know, understanding. Well, a lot of the students are themselves people who have come into the community.
Yeah.
It looks like Welcoming Week is September 8th through the 16th.
Which means school has fairly started.
And Constitution Week is September 17th to the 23rd, which also encompasses National Citizenship Day. So September is kind of like so the library does, so the reason I was trying to tie this together in my brain was because the libraries do a Constitution Week celebration. So perhaps we could next year incorporate a celebration day with the library.
Yeah, because it sort of works together, doesn't it?
Yeah. The Welcoming Week comes the week before Constitution Day, and it's all celebrating.
So the question I have is, in order to like be involved in welcoming week, we need to be members of Welcoming America. Now, when I say we, I'm not talking about the DEI. This ain't us. We're talking about the city.
Right.
Okay, we're talking about the city. So this, so the sales got to be to the city. Why they need to be involved in Welcoming America.
Yes.
Because the sales already been done here, right? So
Has that been discussed at all in council?
No.
All right, does anyone know local municipalities are involved, like Edmonds or Lynwood or Broward?
Yeah.
we'll look at this Tacoma, Bellevue.
Redmond,
Kirkland,
Okay, I missed
Those are
that.
the
there it is.
at Redmond.
Buren.
Yeah. It's a cool thing. But is it an overlay from the work that we're doing, for instance, with our training, the DEI training, is this a certification of some sort?
No, it's more of a membership, and there are, some benefits. They do, I think they host a conference or a training, and, that is, on their website, they have different resources that we can access. And there's several programs. I only posted that economic development one, but there's some other programs that they offer, resources and technical assistance and things of that nature. So not training in the way that we've talked about previously here, but definitely a way to connect with other communities doing the work and learn about what they're doing as well.
How do they differ in terms of size, scale, and scope to GEAR? Because it sounds like almost similar to GEAR.
It's not quite as, I would think GARE is really more focused on governments doing racial equity work.
Okay.
And definitely more training focused, more collaborative in that space, that certain set of organizations, and this is a much broader and community-based set of work. Yeah.
The membership also includes corporations.
Yes.
Yeah.
And nonprofit groups,
And nonprofit groups.
hospitals.
And the map doesn't show these.
It's not, well, I guess we don't have any in this region, but there's, and I don't recall now what the different dots mean. There's dots and like influence, so, but we can go to the website if you want me to, Oh, yeah. The local government is a opinion point and a nonprofit is a host. And there is a certification apparently. So,
It's interesting that Welcoming America has some cities in Europe.
yeah, like I said, they just started expanding into. There's another. Must be
So, I think they're common.
program, but yeah.
They do talk about that on the website about the concept of that.
Well, I like the idea. What do we have to do at this point? What's the,
If you're interested in it, I will bring it to council for their consideration along with your list of proposed proclamations. And just get their back on becoming a member of Welcoming Week or Welcoming America and potentially celebrating Welcoming Week.
Is there a cost to the city?
Yeah, it's a few $100 a week.
So does the council need the whys from us? Or are they gonna get the whys from you?
I can do that for you
Okay.
unless there's something in particular that speaks to you that you want me to make sure I express.
I would wonder if the, Mountlake Terrace Business Association would be interested, the Mountlake Terrace Prior.
Oh, the chamber.
Yeah, the chamber would, want this as well, like getting more community support for it beyond the DEI. mission. And if it's an economic focus that you're kind of talking about and highlighting here, then inviting them to be a part of it, and then it falls in line with the Snohomish County,
Of the BIPOC
Yes,
chamber.
yeah, the BIPOC chamber.
Do you mean like if we would become members as partners, or like they would also maybe want to join?
Or if they would want us to join, and then that would be like a,
If they would also be encouraging along with
Yes.
us,
Mhm.
them to join.
Because as a, not, well, a chamber, we have our chamber expert on the line here. Chambers are nonprofits or for profits?
They're nonprofits, but they're not 501c3s. They're typically 501c6s. It's a different designation.
But even if they just were on board as wanting it as a
Yeah.
feature of the city.
Is there a downside, just for argument's sake, or something? I'm not seeing it at this point. Is there a reason not to?
I mean, it costs a little money, so, but,
Is that
I
a
believe it's-
yearly thing that you have to do?
Yeah. But I mean, honestly, it is
I think it would be important when presenting to the council an understanding of what the certification entails, because that certification for stuff is usually what turns people away from wanting to be involved in things.
that's a voluntary thing. We don't have to be a certified.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think what it's done for some other communities is elevate the work that they're doing, because it's a way. So in Burien and Redmond, I've been involved in both of those communities who are both part of this. They really did something for Welcoming Week, and it was a way to bring in Redmond, it's a whole East Side collaborative, so Kirkland and Bellevue and the mosque and the police and all sorts of different organizations, the library got together and they created their own calendar. And it was a shared calendar among them. So, I mean, this could be something that we talk to Lynn with DEIC about, and so they had a regional calendar and it was full. I mean, there was something going on every day, usually 2 or 3 things between the 3 cities. In Burien, it's a much smaller scale. It's a community a little bigger than ours, but a city budget about the same. And they just did a 1-day, they've been doing a 1-day event for 3 years now. And what they did was they brought in all their community partners who provided services to immigrants and refugees, and also just cultural groups and so forth together. And so they had sort of a place where you could learn about all that in one room, and then celebratory things in another room. So dances and music and different groups from different cultures. And then they partnered with their downtown association, who brought in food from the local restaurants that was, ethnic related food. So it's a 1-day thing. It's like a significant event, but not to the scale of Terrace or
Sure.
4th of July or something like that, but it's meaningful and growing in the scale and capacity. So those are just 2 examples. I'm not saying we have to do exactly anything like that, but we need to do what's right for us. But it was a nice way to celebrate in Redmond, the work that they were starting to do on racial equity. In fact, they named their racial equity work Welcoming Redmond. So the internal team is called that. And when they talk publicly about that work, they use that terminology. That's not the case in Burien, but also, they celebrate Welcoming Burien for that event. Like that is the event title. But it is really about welcoming the different groups and showing that and celebrating it in a different way. So. Yeah.
So if the community was not welcoming to refugees and immigrants, then it wouldn't be for us, but it sounds like the things that we're doing, it would make sense potentially.
Yeah.
To that. It's not something that we're trying to shy away from. the
Right,
opposite.
sort of our
Yeah.
mandate.
Yeah.
Commission, yeah. All right, so, you want to make a,
The only
To,
thing, so to play adversarial, the only thing I would wonder about waiting on it would be is if this impacts the consultant work that they're doing. Or if this would be a good stepping stone for the consultants to come in with. Us having already started.
yeah, I don't think it,
Okay.
it has to wait for a consultant.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, I would think that this would be an add-on, you know, to, you know, an idea that maybe they haven't considered,
Mhm.
you know, to be able to do more.
Mhm.
So can I get a motion on the floor to recommend to the city council membership into Welcoming America organization?
I'll motion that, yeah.
Okay, it's been, and it's been second, all in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
All right,
All right, so that was Apio and Francisco, right? Thank you.
okay, let's go to commissioners' report. We'll start with Scott.
So part of my report is information from the comprehensive plan advisory group that I participate in. I participate on behalf of this group. So we are participants in CPAC. The purpose for our representation is to act as a sounding board to get information out about the Vision 2044. And that comprehensive plan is being built as we speak, and we all witness all of the planning that was going on with Jonathan, who came by just a couple of meetings ago, tell us about this. To advise on community interests and values and help reach out to others, liaison to the community, and to make recommendations to the planning commission. So that's the purpose for our representation. I noticed that, or we asked about yard signs to get the information out. And what I got was business cards. So they don't have any yard signs. But Jonathan reached out to us and said that he would build some. Or you at least get that information to the committee or to the group to ask about producing them. And these yard signs, I'm sorry, I don't have the cards because I gave them out. But they would reference 2024 and they would offer the QR code so that you could access all of the information about the what the group has come to
And the
as far as
survey,
planning is concerned.
and that would also access the survey.
Yeah, they can access the survey as well. I don't have the cards with me because I went further out into my neighborhood and passed them out to neighbors, 9 this time. And I picked up 20 cards and gave them all out. And so if I had the yard sign, I would just kind of back that up, especially with Halloween coming around. And we get a lot of kids and families in the neighborhood. So if we can, I mentioned that to Jonathan, if he can hurry it up and get those yard signs out. And if you're interested, I think we should make the request to Jonathan for more yard signs. You can probably advocate for a yard
Yeah,
sign
I
for
think,
each of our homes at least.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's they are really wanting, I think, to get out to all of these groups. And in fact, if you go into that vision, you will notice that they have a strategies for engagement. So they have an idea of what they need to do in order to get out to people, to get them engaged in the process. they really want more people taking their surveys. And they have, and, ideas for more direct engagement methods. And they have a community contact list that includes all of the businesses. And I noticed the Fish Bluefish, my company's on there as well. Cultural and faith-based institutions, much according to that list that we had up there. So I think that might be part of our role, or they might be leaning on us to have some impact on that engagement.
So when they talk about, when they have that business list, what is their plan? What is the plan to do with these businesses?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's to make sure that they get the information out to all of these businesses, and that they have an opportunity to see the vision and to respond if they would like to.
You know, what I would like to see with the businesses, I got that, you know, to see and respond, but to share. You know, I think of those QR codes, those QR codes there, and I think of like Hadani restaurant. If I want Africans, Ethiopians to scan the card, that's where they're gonna scan it at.
Put a
Yeah.
poster up
You
in the
know, put a
window.
poster in the
Yeah.
window.
Right.
You know, we can get these ethnic businesses, if they can get these ethnic businesses this information, you know, and get them to buy, you know, they can understand and see it, respond and share, you know, as businesses, then we're gonna start seeing, I think, a different survey, you know, result. Because, you know, when he was sitting here and I'm looking at the results, I could see where there was, the diversity wasn't in the results, you know, just from the questions. And so, and we know that, you know, we've got groups that just don't participate, you know, so in order to get them to participate, we gotta get them to, we gotta go to where they go, the
Yeah,
mosque, you know, the churches, the school, the stores,
Yeah.
the restaurants, you know, the
I
cleaners.
agree.
You know, those are the businesses that are going to generate the survey, you know, more than a business card will.
They do have a flyer. I know this is something that I printed up myself, and they have the QR code,
Okay.
takes them right to the poll there. This is a bit wordy.
Yes,
Yeah,
It's full of information. It's full of all of the information I think you need, but it's a bit wordy, and I don't think anybody's gonna stop to
Right.
look at.
the QR code is so small. I think
Yeah.
if people see a bigger QR code and they go, oh, what's that QR code
Yeah.
for? Then they're gonna read about it.
Yes,
But I mean, the QR code is not the most prominent thing.
yeah,
On
it's
the
like
page.
all of the ideas are on here.
yeah,
Yeah.
What they want to get out to people, like especially with the planning process here, I think. they're gonna-
so the message I would give to you is, you know, tell them, get rid of all the words.
Mhm.
You know, all that can be in the QR code, you
Yeah.
know, just make a flyer with the width. You know, why should I look at this? Why should I scan it?
Yes.
Period. And then let the people go from there. And it's a slide that's got too much information.
I think they say it right up here, it says, share your ideas, join in the fun and participate in planning for the next 20 years of Mountlake Terrace, QR code. I mean, that is plenty of information.
Yeah.
Big fun letters with the logo up here and all that stuff. I think that's enough.
I mean, you could even maybe put the QR code in the middle of that page without all the stuff in the middle, and
Yeah.
then put the bottom part on there, so put something at the bottom too, but the QR code needs to be the center of the universe there, I think.
Got it.
Well, and if they did thrift it down to just that statement, they could put the statement in our hotkey languages
Yeah,
and the QR code.
Got it.
So then it's readable at the
Yeah.
businesses that we're trying
Yes.
to stop at.
Yes. So this is essentially what they're going to get to, like businesses to put out. Anyway,
It's so hard to make those flyers.
It is.
I've done the same thing, where someone else is like, take all the words off, and I'm like,
Yeah.
but I wanna say that.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah. If you try and translate it, then you see why you have too many words.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
got that.
Thanks, Scott.
Anything else?
Just, do I share about other things that I did as well?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
related, absolutely.
So I passed out more of the Vision 2044 cards, 20 of them to 9 more neighboring homes. I went to, I don't know about, you know, going to museums and things like that. Do I talk about those kinds of things?
It's DEI related.
Yeah, it is. On September 29th, I visited the National Museum of African History and Culture in Washington, DC, and that was, spent 4 hours there, not enough time, a lot of multimedia. It's a must see if you go. It's really important and powerful. On October 15th, we had a wedding in Tulsa, I mean, not in Tulsa, but in Oklahoma, but we passed through Tulsa, and we bought tickets to the Greenwood Rising Museum. That was about the race riots there in Tulsa, equally powerful, much that I didn't know about. So it was very, all these are eye-opening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kermit,
I don't have anything.
okay, Kermit,
A couple things. First of all, last meeting, they mentioned that there were volunteer spots at the Arts of the Terrace, and I took one of those spots, and I gotta say, it was really impressive. The art was amazing, the artists were diverse and so creative, and the folks at the Art Commission were very happy that, you know, one of us were part of it, and we talked a lot about, and like you touched on earlier, it's great that, you know, we are connected in that, you know, in these ways, and kind of show up for things there. So thank you for mentioning the last meeting, because I was glad I took that trip. That it was 2 hours and it went by really quickly, just looking at art, talking to people. It was great. I'm glad I did it. Also, I mentioned that Martin Scorsese's new movie, Killers of the Flower Moon. One of the main characters is played by Lily Gladstone, who is a Mountlake Terrace graduate.
Yeah.
Her father is Blackfoot and then Perth, and she spent a lot of childhood in Montana, but graduated from Mountlake Terrace High School. And I just think it's amazing. She's also in Reservation Dogs of Blue, which is one of my favorite shows. Yeah, she's great in that thing. And so I just want to recognize that. And some of our graduates do very well. And also really in getting these parts that are about our culture and you know, that part of life. And then the last thing I have is next week, the 24th and 25th, Washington State Office of Equity is having a We the People convention where communities and different people speak about ways of inclusion and equity and how they've done it. And I cannot do the 25th. You can also attend online, but I'm going on the 24th. It's a convention.
and what's the date?
24th and 25th, next.
Of October.
Yes, I'm sorry, October, yes. I think it's. Tuesday and Wednesday.
And just the Common Convention Center.
Yes, the Coleman Convention Center. And, but I'm gonna go, it's 8 AM to 4:30 both days. I can't go on the Thursday, but I'm gonna go. And some of the topics they have laid out are really, really interesting. And I'm gonna place quite a lot of work. So I really agree.
We're interested to hear some information about it.
Yes.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Benita,
So I attended remotely the Snohomish County Human Rights versus State thing event on September 21st. And, remote was very hard because they were having audio visual problems.
Oh.
So at one point, Karen Chase put her cell phone out on the Zoom call and just was the speaker for a while, and it just got to be too hard to follow. So I tried, and so the part that I saw was powerful, but it was hard to hear. I supported a parent group in Mill Creek who are having, members of the community, in the city that are not parents of the students at the school come out, speaking against some of the equity work that the PTA has been doing. So I was able to talk with them about some opportunities to bring people together. We went to the Cops and Clergy, event that you told us about last time. That was really informative, and I'm so glad to have been there and a part of that. And then earlier this week, I attended a Zoom with the Secretary of State for Elections Observation Info. And so anyone in the community can become an observer for election stuff. And it's really cool. I didn't know that
Right.
existed.
Fantastic, thank you. Teresa?
Well, I'm just gonna talk a little bit more about Cops and Clergy, which was a really great meeting. It was focused on domestic violence for honoring Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And Danielle Singson is the domestic violence advocate with the police department, has been for 18 years. And we've been lucky in this community to have somebody like that for so long, because a lot of communities don't. What I found really interesting was, because I actually did volunteer for domestic violence services of Snohomish County and did their training a number of years ago. What I found interesting was Danielle focused on what the role of the police department is and how the police approach domestic violence calls, what they consider to be domestic violence when they get a call, versus what domestic violence services deals with. And one of the big differences was that domestic violence services only deals with relationship violence. So roommate, romantic, that sort of thing. But the police also consider like elder abuse to be a form of domestic violence. So domestic violence services in Snohomish certainly has referral things they can do for people who call to report that. But also that domestic violence services they can keep things confidential for people that call on them. But the police aren't able to do that because there might be implications for charging or whatever. So one thing I found really interesting too was we were talking about accessing domestic violence services, and I can't remember the name of the representative that came from the DVS, but she said teenagers actually prefer to use the national line because you could text on that one. And they would rather access the website and chat with somebody than actually pick up the phone and call somebody, because of course we know teenagers don't really do phone calls. And my kids aren't teenagers anymore, and they'd rather text with me. So that was something I hadn't thought about. I also asked about what kinds of resources there are for people who are non-English speakers who might be involved. They use the language line, which is something I used in my job as a nurse, to help with translation. And also there are some organizations, I think there's a Hispanic organization to help deal with that. But there are some communities where reporting is a problem because it's not a cultural thing that they recognize, because they're possibly more paternalistic societies. So anyway, it was just very interesting and pretty complete discussion about that whole subject. So
Great.
I wish they recorded it and that it was shareable.
yeah, well, I know it would be really good. The other thing is the next meeting is December 7th. And I think the subject is, I think Matt said that he's doing the second half of an emotional intelligence thing that he does. I can't attend that meeting because I'm having my hip replaced on the 5th. So I won't be able to go to that meeting, but it's also the second half of a previous meeting. So I don't know if you saw his previous thing on that or not. Yeah. So anyway, very interesting meeting and something, that's an important subject to me.
Well, I'm glad you all went and represented the group, because, obviously, it's an opportunity, for connection in the community. And I know there are groups that still have not attended cops and clergy yet, that was, religious groups, within the city that just hasn't gone for whatever reason. And hopefully, they can, maybe some of the stuff that we do over the course of the year will help, get, some of those groups that are.
Well, I kind of wish that that Matt had gone around and just identified who was there, because I think there were some other
They
types of,
didn't do that.
no, I think there were some other types of first responders there.
There were fire department,
Yeah.
South County Fire chaplains.
Oh,
Were there.
they were the chaplains,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, I wouldn't know by seeing them. I realized they were like fire department, but, yeah, so that would have been a nice thing to have. Well, I mean, because, I've been here like for a year, so.
One thing, Matt will do, he will respond to any suggestions that you suggest, so, from that meeting, send them feedback.
Okay.
Send them feedback, he
All right.
will welcome that, okay? My little bit, couple of things, on September 27th, I, joined, a group at the Linwood Library, that was doing a thing called Let's Talk Violence, based upon just the rise of violence, in the city of Linwood, and I kind of went because it's within our county, and what's happening there can spread here, and I'm glad I went because they had a panel discussion of city council members. They had resources for people who are having issues with violence, drugs, needing access, and there was quite a few people there of various agencies, and what came out of that meeting that I thought was important for us is that, just like here, there's that unrepresented group, that is experiencing most of the problems. And these resources that were available, for the county, not just for Linwood, were there. And there was actually a couple of people that had some things going on that were able, within like a week or so, and both were Hispanic, were able to get help. One was for a kid, a student, middle school student, so I got a lot out of that. Made a lot of contacts, and so I'm glad I went. Then on the 30th, I went to College Place Middle School for the Fiesta Culture. Attended that for a little while, got a chance to, meet quite a few people, kind of see some of the activities that are going on. Had opportunity to spend some time with Dr. Sally Guzman. We had met before. She's the community engagement coordinator, for the school district. And what we talked about is, one of the things we talked about is that she was receptive to is possibly, joining us here on a DEI one day, do a talk about what she's involved in and how we can help support, what she's trying to do, get the council aware of things that they're trying to do, and just help improve, the whole community engagement, family community engagement thing that she's trying to work on. So new business down the road is, as we talk to more, we'll try to, and I know Benita talked to her quite a bit, that if we can, I think it'd be worthwhile to get her to come in and talk about what she does and what the city needs, what the kids needs and what the family needs. And then in October, the city council meeting, I was present, Teresa and Scott were there, present for Alvaro Gillian's recognition for the work he does in the community, in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. I also had the opportunity during public comments to speak to an event that had just recently happened in Mountlake, Terrace, where one of the judicial candidates, Judge Mary Anderson, who's running for office, running for a judicial seat, had her signs, in the city of Mountlake Terrace defaced and ripped and torn down, from their place. And so I got an opportunity to talk about that and talk about the city and how important I thought it was for the city council, to recognize that happened, say something about it and make a statement claiming that that's not what this city should be about. So that's what I got. Okay. So now let's turn it over to Councilmember Murray.
Thank you, Chair Page. I feel like I should have typed my notes today. I feel like there's a lot of them, so I will try to quickly work through them given the time. I guess a couple of just quick comments based on thoughts of commissioners' reports. I appreciated Commissioner Courtney's, kind of thoughts around the intersection of identity and barriers that potentially creates to accessing domestic violence resources. I think that is a really interesting conversation, and maybe as we think about Domestic Violence Awareness Month next year, we can have conversation around what are some ways that we can support folks, whether it is cultural, norms or language barriers or legal status. I think there's lots of reasons that make it, I think it's often hard for people to navigate those situations when they are in them. And I think there are lots of reasons that people may have additional barriers that we might be able to think about as a city, trying to reduce at least. And then appreciated Commissioner Matsuda's update on all the good stuff going on in the advisory commission or advisory group. And I will just maybe, Carolyn, this is a note for you, but I'm talking about kind of the ways to get it out and those cards in particular. I know we're going to be at Trunk or Treat here on the 31st. And so maybe that's an opportunity if we have some more of those cards to just kind of send those with families as they come through and encourage them to fill that out. Let's see. Big stuff. Let me start with big stuff and then I'll look at the time and figure out whether the rest is worth circling back to. But I think big council notes this month. So we are moving all of our meetings to Thursdays. So there's no more confusing first and third Monday and then the Thursday prior. So all council meetings will now be on Thursdays. So our regular meetings will be the first and third Thursday of the month. Our work sessions will be the second and fourth Thursday of the month. So essentially, if it's a Thursday night at 7 o'clock, we are meeting unless it is the fifth Thursday of the month, which doesn't happen every month, but obviously some months it does. So I think that's an important thing to note. I think it's a helpful thing to socialize with the community. I think the more we can make sure that they're aware, that would be really helpful. I won't go through all of the stuff that's coming up on the radar this month. You can find that through our city council page. You can look at our upcoming agenda items. I think a couple of highlights that maybe is helpful for this group. We have the presentation of our third quarter police report on the 2nd, scheduled. I will say all of these things this is the tentative schedule. Sometimes things change, but presentation of third quarter police report is the 2nd. We are on the 9th, talking about our state legislative agenda and also property tax levy and other revenues. So those might be some things that folks would be interested in that have connection to the work of this commission. And then skipping ahead to the 16th, we will have a public hearing on the 2024 property tax levy and other revenues. We'll vote on our state legislative agenda, and then we will also take a look at our federal legislative agenda. So those are some upcoming items, and then the meeting on Thanksgiving that would normally fall on Thanksgiving Day is canceled this month. So we'll only have 3 council meetings this month. Couple other things I think helpful to note. On Friday the 3rd, we received an invitation from Verdant. They are having their 2nd annual community health networking event. The goal there is to connect funders and leaders of frontline organizations who provide healthcare programs and services to BIPOC communities and vulnerable residents. So if that is something that raises some flags that you feel like you have interest in learning more, we can get you more information around that, and would be happy to, I think, disseminate that as makes sense or connect you with Verdant to see if that would make sense there. We talked a little bit about our comprehensive plan open house already, so I think save the date there and help to get the word out. I think there's already lots of good conversation had about getting the word out about comprehensive plan feedback, but I will say that is conversation that has been brought forward by council members, and there is lots of support around continuing to look for ways to reach communities that have historically been underrepresented. I saw that today we sent out information about the languages that we have translated that survey into already. So we have it translated into Spanish, Vietnamese, Russian, Korean, Herrick, which is for folks from Ethiopia, that is language that they primarily speak. So opportunity to connect with folks in those communities and who that is their primary language. There is translated surveys available for them to provide feedback, which is awesome, and appreciate city staff's continued intentionality to look for ways to reach folks. Let's see. Chair Page talked about concerns. I appreciated him coming and sharing public comment, and Councilmember Woodard sharing, those shared concerns. And the city did put out a statement following up on those concerns. Some other, let's see. I also attended the Snohomish County Human Rights Commission event on hate. I was able to attend in person, so I probably got a little bit better audio there than unfortunately Commissioner Francisco did. But it was, I think it was a powerful event. There is a lot of really good work being done in Snohomish County, and we were called out and named for our work in that space. But some of that is also driven by the fact that we have been a hot spot for white nationalism in particular. And I think one of the most powerful takeaways that I took from it was, that it's really important that we name it and challenge it when we see these sorts of things in our community. And I think back to Chair Page coming and providing public comment when he saw something, he named it, right, and challenged that was happening in our community, and appreciated that. And I think it's important that we all continue to do that. They did invite us to a follow kind of up event that is kind of similarly themed. They were hosting author David Newart in Everett next week on the 26th. And I think we may have already sent over that information, but if not, we can send that out. Couple other notes. I participated in a week without driving. So that was an opportunity to not utilize my vehicle for a week. And that was part of a program that actually had started here in Washington a couple of years ago by a disability advocacy organization, and that has now gone nationwide, but really, kind of founded along the principle of, folks who are making decisions, oftentimes, whether it is planners, elected leaders, community leaders, et cetera, oftentimes do have access and the ability to drive vehicles, and really better understanding the barriers that are faced by our community members who do not drive, which, who are disproportionately, people of color, immigrants, older folks navigating, poverty, people with disabilities. It's really helpful to understand some of the barriers that they face as they navigate life without a vehicle. So super, I think, interesting process. I think, there's lots of tie-ins to our comprehensive planning process as we move forward. But I will just say my main takeaway was that everybody's like, I could never do that. Not everyone, but that was the primary feedback I got when I shared that was what I was doing. And I think that's a really challenging thing, because whether it's for socioeconomic reasons or because of disability, like, our ability to drive could change. And so how do we create a community where folks are able to fully engage in life, whether or not they have a vehicle, I think was the driver and the takeaway behind that. We already talked about Alvaro Guillen, one of our founding DEI commissioners, coming back to accept our proclamation for Hispanic Heritage Month, which was wonderful. We also did present the proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Month to Danielle Singson. She came to our council meeting as well and appreciated that. City helped to highlight the Day of the Dead event. That's come up too. Appreciated their willingness to partner with the library and sharing that out. We had a ribbon cutting for a local resident. So we have a new women and minority owned business here in Mountlake Terrace. It's called Heart Art Studio, and they offer art classes. And so that was really exciting to see. And they have a really cool. I took a quick screenshot of it earlier. Let's see if it's still up. They have, I think, a mission that is very aligned with a lot of the goals of this commission. So they strive to foster a vibrant community that celebrates the transformative power of art, embraces diversity, and contributes to the cultural enrichment of our society. So anyway, very nice, wonderful, wonderful family and great new business here. And I think with that, I think that's where I'm going to leave it. So it's been a busy month, but I will say, I guess just general thoughts on themes. There's, I think the work that this commission is doing, is driving lots of conversations. I'm so impressed by all of our new commissioners who have joined our awesome, commissioners who have been on board. And it's great to see the work. I appreciate the city staff's support of that work, and it feels like things are moving in a really good direction. I commend each of you for all of the work that you are doing. So I think that concludes my report, Chair Page. Thank you.
I just have one ask. In the past, whenever the city had ribbon cuttings for new businesses, we would get invitations to attend. That seems to have stopped. I haven't seen any invitations. Becca Donnie, this one here. So if that can continue, so if we have opportunity, as individuals representing the DEI commission, it'd be good to be able to get those so we could attend them also.
Yep, I think that's a great note, and I'm sure Carolyn has that, and I will also pass that along.
All right, thank you. Carolyn, liaison report.
All right, just one little follow-up on the comprehensive plan. Just want you to know that I'm intimately involved with that as well. So your comments here tonight will be shared, but I do want to reiterate that I know you mentioned, Councilmember Murray, that the survey has been translated into 5 languages. It also has been shared with all the schools in the city, the religious institutions and nonprofits that were on the list. I want you to know too, that is just the very first initial outreach on the comprehensive plan. There are 3 to 4 phases of outreach. And as you know, the open house will be kind of the first in-person event, but as we get into developing goals and strategies, that's when those small group discussions will be happening. And so we're working with the consultant right now on the approach to the next phases of outreach. So more to come on that. And the work that our DEI planning consultant is doing does tie into the comprehensive plan equity work. And so I had an initial meeting today with the comprehensive staff team today, and we'll have a meeting with the consultant tomorrow just to talk about how they fit in and how we collaborate and share information. So just want you to know we're not working in silos and trying to figure it all out.
Great.
So,
Nice.
but one thing I did want to bring up and is earlier this year, the DEI Commission met with the police chief and attorney to talk about the trespass ordinance. So both Chair Page and Commissioner Francisco were part of that and know more about this than I do, but there was some robust discussion about that. There were several comments shared about that ordinance, and then because there was a need to get that in place pretty quickly, staff met with the chair and vice chair after that meeting a couple of times, I believe, to kind of go through the comments. And council did adopt that ordinance. And I can share this with you via email, but it is on our website. So it's chapter 8.10 if you want to take a look at that in the next couple of weeks. And really, Councilmember Murray and I just wanted to make sure that you have a chance to look at this ordinance. And if you have any questions or concerns about it, we can bring Chief Cott and our attorney Hillary Evans back for a conversation about it. There was a need for council to implement this rapidly due to a situation that was occurring. that's been resolved. It is the only time that ordinance has been used to date. We don't need to talk about it tonight. Obviously, you didn't have this information at hand, but I wanted to bring that up as a potential future agenda item. So at the next meeting or in between this meeting and that meeting, if you feel the need that you want to have this on a future agenda, I'll arrange for those folks to come.
Okay, I appreciate that, and you're right. What I'll do is I'll send you a blurb about the bubble, and then you can send it out to the group, so you'll have some background information, so that when you look at the ordinance, you know, you can come up with your own thoughts and ideas, and kind of like where, you know, I think it was myself and Carissa sat down with the attorney after the fact and the chief, and came up with some ideas, but that was when the group was starting to splinter off, so, or I splintered off, so the opportunity to just, you know, look at it and you can kind of see what our thought process was, you know, and where it could be going in the future. Okay.
Yes, great. More to come on the next couple of agendas, but I'm hoping that our new consultant will come to one of our next meetings. And lastly, I just wanted to ask, since some commissions during the holidays use that as a time to do something more social or educational, and I just wondered if there's anything that you would like to do to learn or to celebrate our cultures together in the next couple of months. If you have any ideas, to let me know.
Okay. I think it's a good ask. We've got some representation here, coaches, right?
Yeah, just a way to get to know each other better and
I
build
think the
trust.
city will put it on for us to meet. Is that what?
Just like something that you want to do within your meeting, you know, if you want to have a little
Oh,
potluck
yeah,
before your meeting, or if there's something, you know, you have something special that you want to do. I used to be the liaison to the Parks and Trails Board for many years, so we would go on field trips, but maybe not in December, but in the summertime. But that's a little different from this group. But anyway, there, just as an example, there's ways to learn about things going on, or ways just to celebrate who we are and get to know each other better. So,
You know what could be kind of cool, just thinking off the top of my head, is, you know, not talking business, but as a group, you know, maybe go to one of the local businesses for dinner,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
not talking shop,
Yes.
you know, but you know, we got our DEI stuff on,
Yes.
and just go into one of the local ethnic restaurants for dinner, you know, and be present outside this room. That could be cool. Yeah. Right, with that, do we have, I don't know that we got we do have some new business, okay,
There are two quick things.
okay,
Please remember to vote November 7th.
Yes.
Vote. And then January 27th, the Edmonds School District is hosting a diversity fair.
what date is this,
It's a Saturday,
what date?
January 27th.
Okay, yeah, I got that, yeah.
January 27th, and I just got the email today, and I passed that I wanted to share with our group, but if we would like to host a booth at that, and share the work that we're doing with other community, with other schools in our.
And this is the Edmonds School District?
Yeah.
So that means like Edmonds will be there, Linwood would be there, Briar would be there.
Potentially, so this is from Sally.
Okay.
One of her events, and so it's a diversity fair, so they're inviting DEI groups, they're inviting churches, students and families that they want to share about their culture.
Okay,
So
it'd be a good
we can
opportunity, I'm
think
sorry.
about, yeah,
Okay.
if we wanna.
Yeah, it'd be a great opportunity if, I wanna say it ain't good English, but if us have a booth, like us and Edmonds and Linwood together, you know, one booth,
Yeah.
one group, one mind.
Commissions.
Yeah, yeah, you know, be an opportunity for all of us to meet each other, you know, work together. I mean, some of them with us at the voter registration thing, and, you know, sat with us, so the opportunity, so. You know, I think that'd
We
be
should
great.
talk, yeah.
Yeah.
We should talk about making.
Yep.
January 27th. And it's in the district, I don't remember where. They outdo their last day. Might be at the convention center.
All right, cool. All right. Anybody else got any business?
I just have a question. This young woman who's playing this role in Killers of the Flower Moon and has also been in Reservation Dogs. Would she be an appropriate person to honor on Native American Heritage Month?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You played locally?
Yeah, she graduated from Mountlake Terrace
I
High School.
don't know, like, I know he mentioned it,
Yeah.
but, you know,
There's been some press about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's not there.
Okay. She what?
She's not there.
Right, but I mean, just somehow mentioned because she's a Mountlake Terrace High School graduate
Yeah,
who represents Native American characters
yeah.
as a woman of Native American heritage. I mean, it's just an idea.
Mhm.
I mean, our meetings are hybrid.
Yes.
Good point.
What was her name one more time?
Lily Gladstone?
It's in all the NLP news today.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. MLT
I
news.
looked
This
it up
is
on
something
the.
else. I saw it like a few days ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and also I think they were doing some event down at Cinnabar. or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is the local Mountlake Terrace,
That's what I
Yes.
saw, yeah, they were
Yep.
having the screening or something.
but it's not family friendly. They're 21 and up.
Yeah, because they serve there, but I'm gonna go see it on Monday. I'm looking forward to it.
So is there a preference among the group between Lily and the neighbors down the street? or
Oh, that's
both?
right. We also have the neighbors
I mean,
down the street.
it's,
I think the neighbors down the street would probably be more impactful to the community, for sure.
I will reach out if we can't get, if they are not available.
Or
Or
if they're
not
not interested or
interested.
whatever, yeah.
Okay.
That gives us an alternative, but yeah, sorry, I spaced on that.
and also just remember when talking to people that we're making a recommendation to
Yeah.
city council, so they have to
Yeah,
sort of prove that. Okay, well, thank you for all your great ideas on that.
And, you know, I just want to say thank you, Carolyn. You put a lot of work. She does a
Oh my
lot of work
gosh.
for us. She has long days. And I
Yeah.
really appreciate, you know, you putting this together and bringing things together for us, you know, the consultant and working with CPAC, you know, putting our minutes together and giving us ideas, you know, helping us stay together here. So I really appreciate the work and effort that you're putting into it, as well as you, Aaron. You know, you're always there for us. So I really appreciate it. And I think it's going to bear fruit in some really, really great ways. You know, this is a good group and we're doing a lot, you know, we're doing a lot. It may not seem like a lot, but we're you know, we just. With that, I am going to, you got a question?
Did we put the ordinance review to the next agenda item?
They're gonna send it out.
Well, we're gonna, before we do that, I'm gonna let you all look at it and then decide if it should be or not.
Oh,
Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll get you some background information, go look at the ordinance, and if it looks fine with you, then we don't need to bring it up. Okay, as simple as that. All right, with that, I am going to adjourn the meeting, because I don't think I need a motion for that. Okay, thank you all for your time.
It's here.
Good night, all.
Remember, Marie, have a good night.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
You said you were involved in your